Today we're going to take a look at a whole new way to practice. This song is called Endgame, and what we're going to do is we're going to learn the song completely backwards. Not as in backwards completely, but learning one phrase at a time. So this song ends with that phrase, and all we have to do is take the 7th fret, open, and then an open C chord. We're going to do that just a few times until we get used to it. That's the very end of the song. What happens when we practice backwards is, here's the phrase before it. This is a G7 chord, and we're going to take a little melody, and we're suddenly into the part that we already know. So when you learn this way, you end up not making any mistakes, or just very few that you have to figure out later. So check it out. We're going to go. That's the end. Now this is the bar before. If you've got Ukulele magazine in front of you, then you have all the tab and you'll have the notes that you can work with. But for now, just take a look here. This is a G7 chord. Open 3, open 2, 4. Then we're going to have a position shift. And then back to the one part we already know. Let's try that a couple times. G7, a scale leading up, position shift, and the C major chord. So once that starts to flow nicely, we're going to go one phrase back. So one measure before starts with an F major chord. What I'm going to do is play another melody. Here's the F chord. It's pretty simple. It goes da 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 bum bum bum. If you can, hold the chord down while you play. And the next chord we already know. This is a G7. And the very end. So let's try that again. This time starting from the F. So we're 3 measures back. There's a little stop right there. Da, 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 da. Stop for a second, then G7. And on the C. Now let's finish that phrase out by learning the one before it. This one starts on a C chord. It's actually a C up here with the bar, but leave your 3rd finger off. And we're going to go open, open, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret. So that's a mini bar right there. Let's try that a couple times. And we're going to finish it out with a couple extra scale notes. So it's going to be open, open, 4, 3, 3, 5, 7, 3. Try that a few times. Then we're back to our F chord. Stop for a second. G7. Shift position. And then E, D, C chord. Check that out one more time from here. So right there, you've actually learned the entire last phrase of the piece. And it gets even simpler from here because the phrase before starts with almost the same thing. We're going to go. This one's a little different. The G7 goes. So the only part that's different here is the G7. We're going to follow it up. And then the end. So let's take it back from here again. This is the very end of the piece. Here's the measure before it. And the measure before that I'll add in. If you work in this way, you'll find that you're always playing into music that you already know, instead of learning music and then running into stuff and making mistakes. This will eliminate a lot of the problems that you have when you really need to play a piece well. So here's the end. See how easy that is? I've already got it. Here's the part before. I'm already playing it better than I did before. And here's the F. Once again, you really need to have the notation in front of you and look at, if you just play tab and you don't read notes, that's fine too. Just look at it real carefully. There are finger numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 that help you find the right frets and line them up with the tab as you go. So you kind of need to go real slow with this stuff at first, but you'll find after practicing this way that you learn the piece a lot better. So let's take the whole first 2 phrases, which is going to be this part climbs up. Goes back into the first part. Now the G7. Simple as that. You've learned the entire last part of the piece. Now if we go backwards from there, it goes into a minor section. This is going to be an A minor chord with your pinky on top. Once again, we're going to do a little bit of scale work. So it's going to be 3, 2, open, 4, that's a G sharp, hinting at the E7 chord. Now here we're going to stretch just a little bit, play an F shape with your pinky on 5. That F shape is called D minor 7 in the score because it's a D minor sound. So here we go, the A minor. And we're going to go backwards from here and learn the entire thing. So the last part of the chord goes A minor. Let's do that a couple times. That's the last phrase of the minor section. The phrase before that has a very interesting chord. It's a B minor 7 flat 5, which sounds really scary, but actually it's really easy. It's 4, 2, 1, open. And then we're going to hint at an E 7th chord. So let's try that a few times. B minor 7 flat 5. Look for it in the score there. Do that a whole bunch of times. And then the very last part is going to be A minor. There you go. So it's just with that G sharp. Let's play the last part of the minor section. I think this is example 3 in your score. Do that as many times as you need to. And it feels good. Just get it right. Now the part before that starts in minor. Here's that D minor 7. And you're going to need to stretch a little bit. This is an F shape with your pinky on the 5th fret. So let's take that again. It goes A minor with the pinky on top to the G sharp. Now stretch a bit with the F shape. Back up the scale. Now the B minor 7 flat 5. And there's no chord there, but it's hinting at an E7. And then it ends with A minor. So that whole section sounds like this. Okay, now there's only one more section that we need to learn, and we're going to know the whole song. This is the beginning of the minor section. So go back another 4 bars, and you'll find that we have A minor, guess what? We've already learned that, so that's easy. This time, the first time around, we're going to hit a G chord, but don't put your second finger down yet. So it's a G chord, open, 2, 3. Take a look at that again. A G chord, open first string, 2nd, 3rd fret, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and we're going to go. So listen to that whole phrase together. It goes. Here's the whole minor section together. I'll do it really, really slow, and watch your music carefully. D minor 7, climb back up. G, without the first string. Then we stop on C. The second part starts on A minor again. Same thing exactly. D minor 7, climb back up. Now here's that B minor 7 flat 5. Now here's the greatest surprise of this song. It actually is an A-B-A form. So we've already learned the whole thing. Check it out. It starts at the beginning. Then the next one is that F phrase. Then we climb up. G7. Be careful to meld this together. Same thing. This time we climb up and down. That's the A section. Here comes the minor section. G, A minor again. B minor 7 flat 5. The end is the same as the beginning, the A part. So that's just an overview of how to practice. What you really need to do is go backwards from each measure and treat every single measure as if it's the whole song so you can play it really well. Then you back up 1 and you get that phrase and you stitch them together. Then you back up 1 and you get that phrase and you stitch them together. So let me go ahead and play this whole thing for you and then send you on your way to practice. But this song is called Endgame, and I wrote it specifically for a new book looking at practice methods just like this, and each one will have a different benefit to it, okay? So here's Endgame from the beginning. It sounds like this. Section, the minor section. Get that D minor 7, G, same thing, A minor, B minor 7 flat 5. And then it goes back to the beginning. that's the whole thing. I played it all with my thumb this time. You can use any fingers that you want. If you use better arpeggios or whatever, you can play it, you know, different fingers. But this is just to make it look really easy. And it's okay to practice like this even if you are an advanced player, and put the other fingers in later just so you really get a good sense of how that all maps together. So go after it, play it completely backwards, learning one bar from the back of the piece all the way to the front, and see if it works for you. Enjoy your lesson.